This is the Werner Electric speed pull order form. This is the form that the customer will use and send back to Werner Electric to get the speed pulls made. So in this order form there are two tabs. The first tab is your order form tab. The second tab is your instructions on how to use this form. In this video we are going to go through your instructions tab and learn how to use this form, fill it out correctly, and get speed pulls delivered to your job site. In the order header, there are things that Werner Electric will need to put the order on for your specific job or company. So we will need your date ordered, who it's ordered by the company, the job name and job number, the date that the pull is required to be delivered, the ship to address, the ship to contact on who will be receiving the pull, the contact phone number in case there's any questions, and any other notes that need to be provided to Werner for making the pulls. As you can see, there's different configurations to this pull sheet that are in the instructions tabs. We will go over this in the order form section shortly. In the bottom end of the instructions tab is the Werner Electric speed pull standards. These are the standards that your pulls will be assembled to unless specified by the customer. There's a couple key points in here. Number one is the sets of labels. Werner Electric will use 4 sets of labels, which means one on each end of each conductor, and then 2 sets are sent out on the outside of the spool for the customer to use for field installation. The second keynote is the 5% adder. Werner Electric will then pull to that 5% adder length to make sure that all the conductors are pulled to the desired length in the order form. Back on the order form page, we have our speed pull order form header, which we talked about in the instructions tabs, and then now we will start to go through on how to fill out the order form. There's a couple different rows here that we want to fill out. So number one is your spool number. So for your first spool, you're going to have number 1. So this is going to be how many conductors are on that one spool. So this, for example, we're going to pull 3 conductors on this one spool. Our pull label is going to be pull number 1. Then we will drag that down for all 3. For the wire label, we're going to do circuit 1. The second conductor will also be circuit 1. The third conductor we will use as our ground, which will mean there will be no label for that conductor. Wire type, we'll use THHN, drag that down, and we'll use number 12 for our size. In the drop down, you'll see various colors. These are our standard options, which means we have a cut by the foot for these. Any other options outside of these standard options will be charged for a full spool. So for this first conductor, we are going to use a black. The second conductor, we're going to use a white, and for the ground, we'll use a green, which of course will not have a label on it. Our length is going to be 100 feet long. I'll drag this down, and when you see this, you'll see that the 5% adder added 5 feet to make sure that when the customer has this pull, that the whole pull, every conductor, is at least 100 feet long. Since there is no different lengths within this spool number 1, we'll have nothing in this tab. In the notes section, this is where you would put what you would like to have for your pull head or your end configuration, plus any other notes you want to have for that spool or pull. So for this one, for example, we just want a pull head on the end. So that makes that whole pull number 1, spool number 1, complete. So now we'll drop down and we'll do a stack sequence. So stack sequence means we have one spool, but we want to put multiple pulls on that one spool. Meaning you might have 5 pulls on the one spool, pull number 1 off the top, and then as you pull number 1, you will get to number 4. When you're finished with number 4, you'll have 3, and then so on. So we'll do an example. Since this is our second spool, we will label this spool 2. In this spool, we're going to have 2 sets of pulls, but we'll have 6 conductors total. So we'll drag this down to 6. Our first one will label number 1. Pole number 1 has 3 conductors in it, and then pole number 2, which will be on top of pole number 1, also has 3 conductors in it. So we're going to label this one pole A for the pole number 1 on spool 2. Pole number 2 for spool 2 will be called pole B. Wire labels can vary in any certain size for a number of characters. So, for example, we'll just use circuit 5. And then our third conductor will be a ground. Now we're on our second pole, which will be pole B. We'll have circuit 7. Third conductor in pole B will also be a ground. For wire type, we're going to choose XHHW. You will see this caution sign come up. This means that it's outside of our standard cut by the foot price for wire type or jacket color, and prices and lead time may vary. For questions on this, you may want to go to your Werner Electric CSR or your local Werner Electric account manager. So we're going to drag this down because we want both poles to be XHHW, and then we're going to choose wire size 10. Number 10 will be for the whole pole. Then we'll pick our jacket colors. This particular one is going to be a 277 pole. So we have those colors available also. It's our last pole in pole A, which will be our ground. And we'll start with circuit 7. And we're complete. You can now pick your lengths for each pole. So for pole A is 125 feet long, and we'll drag this down. And pole B, we want 150 feet long. We want the same options in the note section. We'll just have a pole head. We want this for both poles on spool 2. We'll drag this down for completion. The final example we'll use is if we wanted various lengths in one pole. So this will be spool number 3. Spool number 3 will have 5 conductors. Since it's not going to be stacked, we don't put anything in this column. We're going to use pole A-1.1. Let's copy and paste that in here. Circuits. We'll use circuit 1 again. 1 in its corresponding neutral. And then we'll have circuit 3. We have circuit 3's corresponding neutral, and then we'll have a ground. This will also be THHN. Drag these down. Size number 12. 120 volt colors for this one. So we're going to have circuit 1 be 100 feet long. So 100 feet, and it also be that for its corresponding neutral. And for the last 3, circuit 3 and the ground, we want those to be 125 feet long. So we'll copy and paste this through. So now we get into this tab, which is our even or staggered length. So if you have different lengths within one spool or one pull, you're going to look up to this section here, which is going to be, do we want an even start or a staggered start? A staggered start would mean all of the conductors will start on the spool end, and then they'll go to their desired length and then fall off as they go, remaining with the longest conductor at the end. Even start would mean that we're going to go our desired length in between pulls. For this example, we would spool circuit 3, its corresponding neutral on the ground, 25 feet, then attach circuit 1, meaning we'll end up with all 5 conductors at the end for a perfect even start. So we want a staggered start. You can see the options in the drop down, and then we'll bring this down for the whole pull. We also want a pull head for an example on this one, and we'll drop that down for the whole section. Once you're finished completing the form, go up to the top and you hit the Submit to Werner button. This is going to pull up a prompt to send this form, which is attached here, to the Werner Electric custom assembly team. You may want to copy in anybody in your company that you'd like to have attached as you send this over. Note any other things like required date, company, job number, job name, all the stuff that was in the order form header. To get a copy of this Werner Electric speed pull order form, contact your local Werner Electric account manager.